Welcome to the Old Classic Car channel, and this photo collection we are looking at V8-engined classics, and we begin with this very bright yellow Mercury Cougar, a late 1960s example of the Mercury muscle car, V8 engine there under its bonnet. Back to Blighty now. We've got P400B TR. This is a Bentley 8 of 1997, 6 3/4 litre V8 engine under its bonnet, Rolls-Royce engine. One of Blackpool's finest, we've got a head-on view now of a TVR Griffith showing off its V8 power plant. Next up, a wonderful Ford V8 Pilot. This one was registered in December of 1950, and it has the famous flathead V8 engine under its bonnet. To Carfest a few years back, and we've got a G registration Ferrari F40, registered January 1990. This has a 3-litre twin-turbo V8 under its engine lid. Now on to the Haynes Motor Museum for this one. This is a Bricklin SV1. These were built from 74 to 75 in Canada. Had a 5.9 litre 360 cubic inch V8 under its bonnet. There's a rare FLM Panelcraft converted Rover P6 estate car conversion. This has the 3.5 litre Buick derived engine under its bonnet. Classic Range Rover is next, an Electroheads car from 1981, 3.5 litre example. Continuing with these classic V8s, we've got a Jensen SV8. Very few of these were made. It has a Mustang 4.6 litre quad cam engine under its bonnet. 20 or so were built, and the final 12 were built by an outside concern, so a very rare sight. At the same meeting was this lovely little Daimler Dart, as it was going to be called, the SP250 fiberglass body and a 2.5 litre V8 under its bonnet. Another slice of Americana SUY 496, that's a private plate. This Cadillac dates to 1983, has a 4.1 litre engine. Fantastic Rover P5B coupe is next. The P5B, B for Buick. This is a V8 version, of course. A coupe, 4-door coupe. Just a reminder that many cars in F1 had V8 engines. This is a JPS sponsored Lotus 77 built for the 1976 season. It's got the 3 litre DFV engine in the back. Another example of the Rover V8 being pressed into service on another car. This is the MGB GT V8. This NREG car comes from 74 or early 1975. Aston Martin next. This is the Virage. These were built from 1989 through to 2000. This example was spotted at Alton Park. And the classic 70s V8 this time. This is a 3 litre V8 powered Triumph Stag. Very similar, of course, to the Sunbeam Alpine on which it was based. This is the Tiger version. This was built from 64 to 67 and had the 260 cubic inch Ford engine. This oddball car was spotted at Bicester a little while ago. This is the Kellison J1, built in 1957. That's a 5.7 litre V8 engine on display there. The Rolls-Royce Shadow 2 is next. You can see this one, late 1970s example. One of the posher Rover SD1s. This is a Vanden Plas version. That and the V8s were very much top of the tree in the Rover SD1 catalogues in the late 70s, early 1980s. Drag racing often uses V8s, and here we've got a car loosely based on the 53 Corvettes with an 8.8 litre big block Chevy engine under its bonnet, 1700 brake horsepower reported. Talking of oddballs, we've got this wonderful 1972 DAF V8 Super Saloon. 5 litre engine hidden away there. One of the MGR V8s. A limited run of cars were built using the new heritage body shells prior to the launch of the MGF. There's a Stingray lighting up its rear tyres. This was at Sywell a few years ago. Another classic car show, and here we have a Bristol THW 940S. This is a Bristol 603 Series 2 that has the 5.9 litre Chrysler engine. Back to Carfest, but this time at Alton Park. We've got ENZ 288. This is a 288 GTO Ferrari from 1985, the ex-Chris Evans car. A mighty station wagon here, based on the Ford LTD of the late 1960s. Fake wood effect down the side, huge V8 engine under that bonnet. Here is the Jensen FF, which is a slightly lengthened version of the Interceptor with the Ferguson Formula 4-wheel drive system. Side view now of a Ford GT40. This was at the Cholmondeley Pageant of Power quite a few years ago. Ford's pony car of the late 1960s now. We've got a 1966 Ford Mustang, and the little badge on the front wing shows that this is a 289 powered car. There were also 6-cylinder versions available. Back to Carfest in Alton Park. We've got a very smart Aston Martin V8. To a recent show in 2021, this fantastic Porsche 928 turned up. Always like these. This was Car of the Year back in 1978. The TVR 350i was one of several classic cars that turned up at an evening meeting in 2021. This is a 350i with a Rover engine under its bonnet. MUD 56. This was again seen at Alton Park. This is a Facel Vega Facel 2 of 1961 with the 6.3, later 6.7 litre engine. These were built from 62 to 64. Back to Cholmondeley, and we've got a continuation series AC Cobra 427 here. 411 VTW, declared manufactured 1966. Jaguar XJR is next. This had the supercharged version of the V8 engine, initially 4 litre, later 4.2. Back to the Pageant of Power several years ago, we got this very yellow ISO Revolta. These were built from 1962 to 1970, had the Chevy 327 engine under their bonnets. To another classic car gathering last year, we got a lineup of TVI Chimaeras. These had the Rover V8 engine. Here's a real wolf in sheep's clothing. This is a Mercedes-Benz 500e, or later they were called the E500, based on the 124 series 5 litre V8 assembled by Porsche. The rear three-quarter view next of a Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow, I believe. F registration. Because V8s have always been popular with the hot rodding and the custom set, and here we've got a very modified Ford Anglia or Pop, a huge V8 there, shoehorned in under its bonnet, many louvers. This is the old P5B saloon that I used to run many years ago. Fantastic car this was. We've had the coupe, and now this is a saloon version, a slightly taller roofline, which I actually prefer. Daimler Majestic Major here. Another wolf in sheep's clothing. This is from 1966. This had the 4.5 litre V8 engine under its bonnet. Back to Capesthorne Hall, and we've got a G registration Mercedes 420 SEC, one of the 126 series cars, 4.2 litre V8. Down at Bicester again, and we had the HWM Stovebolt Special. This began life as an HWM F2 car, was rebuilt in the mid-50s with a small block Chevy in the form that you see here. Back to Alton Park, and we've got a rear view of a Ferrari, or a Dino as it should be called, 308 GT4 mid-engined with a transverse 2.9 litre engine. There's my old XJR. That was a 1998 car, one of the V8 engine versions, at the Woodford Airfield next to the old control tower, which is all long gone now. This was at the Stars and Stripes meeting at Tatton Park in the mid-2000s, 656 UXE. There's a Chevy 57 limo based on the Bel Air. No prizes for guessing where this Jensen CV8 was photographed. This particular car from 1965 with a Chrysler unit under its bonnet. The Here's an interior view of a different CV8. Back to the pageant of power, MTE 857. This is the Allard Faralac. There's a Cadillac engine hiding away there. This was at Bicester, a side-on view of a Tatra 603, and that has a rear-engined layout, air-cooled V8, and these were built from 1956 to 62 in Czechoslovakia. NSL 324, this is a Buick, a Riviera from 1958. One of my favourites out of this particular collection, this is a 600 Mercedes with the 6.3 litre engine. These were built from 1963 all the way up to 1981. Quite a remarkable car. Rear view now of a Triumph TR8. This was the V8 version of the Triumph TR7, of course. Back down to the Haynes Motor Museum, we've got one of the Aston Martin Lagondas of the late 1970s. An unusual car spotted at Stars and Stripes in 2006 is the front-wheel drive Oldsmobile Toronado. If you've got any particular favourite V8s that may or may not have been included in this particular collection, please let me know. Back to Alton, and there's another V8, possibly a Vantage. And this beauty, YXG648, is a 1937 Ford Coupe. Finished in maroon. It's got the old side valve engine in there, the flathead V8. Two photos now of the rarely seen Trident. This is the Trident Clipper. These are powered by a Ford V8 unit. This particular car dates to August of 1971. There's a rear view of the same car. Next up, a Daimler V8 250, of course based on the Jaguar Mark II. This had the 2.5 litre engine. Back to the Stars and Stripes meeting, we've got a 1966 or thereabouts Pontiac Le Mans. It says 66 on the plate, but the registration is more like 1970. Back to Chumley for the pageant of power, and we've got a side view of the wonderful Baby Bertha. This had a 5 litre V8 engine, around 500 brake horsepower, used in super saloon racing in the early 1970s. To Brooklands Motor Museum, and they've got an example of the Carmichael fire appliance, usual 3.5 litre engine there. There's a Thunderbird at Alton Park. Same venue, I think different event. We've got a Holden here. Here's the second of the Jensen SV8s to feature in this particular collection. We've got a W Reg car here. Like I say, only 32 in total were ever assembled, 20 by the factory and 12 by an outside concern afterwards. Next up, LLB 95P. This is a Bristol 411. Series 5 P registration car, so about 1975 or early 1976. A registration Oldsmobile Dynamic 88, two-door saloon here. Head-on view of a Shadow Series 1 from 1970. Continuing with a classic V8, we've got a Ferrari here. I think this is a 328. It could be the earlier 308, but I think it's the later of the two cars. Two for the price of one here. We've got the MGX Power on the left-hand side and the MG ZT 260 on the right, both of which had the 4.6 litre Mustang engine. Both a very rare sight now indeed. Next, to Chumley Castle Classic Car Show, and we have two examples of the Jensen Interceptor, the Chrysler unit of course. to the Woodford Airfield and one of their meetings that they have, and this is a 289 powered Ford pickup truck in the livery of Shelby. Or Shelby producing the Cobras back in the day. To Alton Park, Gold Cup a few years back, and we've got a race prepared SD1. Still plenty of these classic 8-cylinders cars to come. To Woodford again, and we've got a lineup of Rolls Royces here in the foreground. We've got a Rolls Royce Corniche, the 2-door car. To the Haynes Motor Museum, we've got this ambulance which was based on the 1968 Pontiac Bonneville. All very Ghostbusters. This beauty is an ISO Griffith Series 2. The Series 2 had the partially hooded headlamps at the front, the Series 1 didn't, they were fully exposed. Rover V8 P6 here, as used by the boys in blue, NREG, quite a late example, 1974-ish. To 1972, and we've got this Alfa Romeo Montreal. This had a 2.6 litre twin overhead cam V8 engine. Not just an MGB, but a V8 powered MGB as prepared by Costello back in the day. I believe these predated the factory offered V8s. Lamborghini next, we've got a Jalpa here. These were built from 1981 to 1988 and had a 3.5 litre V8 engine. This wonderful Studebaker Golden Hawk 316 UYK was registered in January of 1956. This is the Morgan Aero 8, which initially had the 4.4 litre BMW engine, later the 4.8 unit. Slightly odd looking car. This though, I think looks really nice. This is the BMW Z8. These were built from 2002 to 2003 only, by the 4.9 litre engine. Quite a stunning looking car, I think. To race retro, and it was really neat to see this F registration 328 GTS Ferrari. Looks like it had been properly used. There's a bit of an oddball sight, certainly in this country. 161 YUP is a Mercury Montclair, circa January 1955. It had a 5.2 litre engine. JPA9C is a 1965 AC Cobra 289. This was at one of the Pageant of Power meetings. Also at the Pageant of Power, possibly in a different year, we've got the Tyrrell P34, the six-wheeler. This had the DFV engine. Back to Cape Storm, and we've got a gold Trans Am next. Two-door sporty car of the 1970s. You don't see these too often. This red AC428 was spotted in the Red Room at the Haynes Motor Museum a few years back. Oh, I do like this. This was at the NEC last year, I believe. This is a Ginetta G10. This has a 4.7 litre Ford V8 engine. That must go very well. XUI 102G is a Bristol 410. Still a few more V8 powered cars to come. We're back to the Haynes Motor Museum. We've got a JGP 467. This is an Allard K1 with rally history dating to 1947. Again, the flathead V8 under that bonnet. Rear three-quarter view next of a Chrysler Newport, circa 1966. Down at Haynes, in the huge collection of American cars they've got down there, is this fantastic Cord 810 Beverley of 1936. This was a front-wheel drive car and had a 4.8 litre Lycoming engine. The Gordon Keeble of 1965 is next. This had the 5.4 litre Chevy V8 engine. This incredible looking car is a Gaz M13 Chaika, built in 1959 and on display down at the Haynes Motor Museum. Also at Haynes is the final car in this collection of V8 car photographs. This is a Fasselweg HK 500 of 1958. And that, as I say, rounds out this collection of 100 photographs of classic cars with V8 engines. I hope that was of interest. Please have a look around the rest of the channel, because there are several hundred classic car videos on here now, and there'll be more uploads along very, very soon, so bye for now.